scrolls, we can't show them to you. The unpublished scrolls, that is. You got to go to the École Biblique. They control the editing process. You got to go over there and ask Father Benoit, who had succeeded Father DeVoe, who then was succeeded by this John Strugnell person I mentioned. You got to go ask them. Go over to Father Benoit, a very nice man in a white costume and so on, perfect Dominican friar. Oh, I can't give you permission to see the scrolls. You got to go over to the Department of Antiquities. They run us around and around and around and around and around. And finally, some chap in the Department of Antiquities took pity on me. He saw me sitting out there, kind of crying in my whatever it is, cups. And he said, "Psst, psst, psst, psst. You want to see the list of the scrolls?" I said, "What? What? Are you calling it?" "Yeah." He said, "I'll show you the list of the scrolls. All the fragments." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." "Let me see them." He said, "Wait." In comes this huge computer printout of all the unpublished scrolls, and it blew my mind. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I scribbled down, he said, "I can't give it to you, but you can look at it just to make yourself happy." And I scribbled down everything that I could on a sheet of paper so that I knew what they were holding there, and I knew what they actually had. Ultimately, I got from other sources, not him, overseas sources, a hold of that list, because I knew what it was that I was looking for and what I wanted to get a hold of. I got a hold of that list and I sent it to the Biblical Archaeological Review, which was edited by this fellow Herschel Shanks in Washington. And Herschel Shanks, who later tried to make a huge capital out of this whole thing and ruin this publication of ours. Colleagues of mine, when I spoke to him, I said, this guy who's editor of the Biblical Archaeological Review only wanted to promote this for his magazine and for his own importance, which maybe all of us want to do, but in any case, it's what he wanted to do. When I saw what he did to our book, publishing all the scrolls, he put this publisher's foreword in. That was his own presentation of all the correspondence of his magazine and everything else. That drew a huge lawsuit on us in the Israeli government. And I couldn't believe that he had put this in our book, and I said to my colleague, he urinated in our book. He marked it like a dog marking a fire hydrant. And this produced a lawsuit, which I'm still under in the Israeli Supreme Court, of literally thousands upon thousands of dollars of damages because of his foreword to our beautifully pure plates that we were all blamed for because our name was on the book. Of course, the public totally misunderstands that, but Bajan and Lee do make that clear. So in any case, I saw what was there, ultimately got hold of all the pictures through sources elsewhere that I'm not able to this day to reveal because you say, oh, you're just being secretive. No, because they will be sued and prosecuted still in Israel by the authorities for what occurred. And my feeling was, if you break the monopoly, you break the authoritative interpretation of the scrolls. That was the whole point of it. If you break the clique, if you let everything open, if you let 1,000 voices sing, then we can have opposition scholars and everyone else giving their point of view. So that resulted in this book here, The Dead Sea Scrolls Uncovered, that came out in Penguin Books in 1992. And I say in that book, the joy it felt as an opposition scholar to actually be able to publish a document first before the cartel, the network, the consensus, what we call the Qumran Mafia. And in the process of publishing those documents, 50 unseen documents first, we could slip in our own interpretation for the first time, an opposition interpretation shown to the public as authoritative. That's what breaking the monopoly meant to me. And what we do with you is to let you be the final judge. You read our works, you read their works, and you tell us who's telling you the truth. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate having me. Thanks a lot.
Those of you, if you have any questions, we ask that you go back by the audio riser and you can ask your question from there.
Or if you want to go to sleep, you can do that too. I know it's a long evening and we don't want to keep you up, so if you just want to sleep or go outside and get some air, you just do that. I mean, you're not going to hurt our feelings, and this is a tough subject, and we know it's not everyone's cup of tea, so we're happy to bear with you as long as you want us to bear with you, and I appreciate your having borne with us. Thanks a lot, and let's take the questions.
My question is, I think that there either are or appears to be waterways that have run through Qumran, the Essene community, and that they were attached to the Dead Sea. Did you find anything in your research or in the Dead Sea Scrolls that indicated usage of these waterways, and could they possibly have been connected to the treasury houses?
Oh yeah, I believe there were waterways there. In fact, I think that's where the mythology of the Sea of Galilee to some extent came from, Jesus walking around the Sea of Galilee and floating on the waters and things like that, because the Dead Sea you can't sink, you see. How many have been on the Dead Sea? Have you tried to swim in it? Could you sink? You get a lot of salt in your eyes though, huh? You don't blink at the right time, or do blink, or whatever. So yeah, I agree with you. And there, if you know, I had in these slides, which I didn't show, I brought tonight, but we decided it'd be too difficult to show slides and say anything too. Some other time maybe we'll do that if you want. But there's a wharf on the Dead Sea about 4 miles below what's known as En-Feshka. En-Feshka is, here's Qumran. En-Feshka is really where the springs come out under the mountains, and it's perennially flowing water. It means fresh, I think it means fresh well or something. But this is where the Qumran agriculture was carried on. And then down a little further is a wharf. And that obviously went across here to Machaerus, where John was killed. So there's a wharf here, and it's clearly a wharf. It's very interesting because it's about 100 yards in now from or 100 feet in now from the present waterline, which shows that though the Dead Sea has receded a lot, it hasn't receded that much. And you can see it's a wharf because it's got storage granaries and so on, and the boats came up to there. So you're dead right. Boats did go around back and forth across the Dead Sea, maybe down to En-Gedi and so on. And there's a lot of interesting material relating to that waterway material, but it's not in the scrolls in any way. I don't see it in the scrolls mentioned.
Okay,
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
I got 2 questions that really, I guess, stem from Lawrence Gardner's work with Bloodline of the Holy Grail. First being, could you comment on the origin of James's authority, whether that be directly due to his relation to Jesus, or if it's something that descends farther back than that? And secondly, Lawrence Gardner's accounts or references that he's using cite James as traveling to Europe, and